Did you know that according to Fidelity, retirement savers with at least $1 million in their IRAs grew by 18% from the third quarter of 2023 to the third quarter of 2024? The IRA millionaire status also grew by 5% from Q2 to Q3 in 2024 to a record of 418,111 people. And it makes sense because the Nasdaq and S&P 500 gained significantly in 2024. So, how long do you think it'll take you to save $1 million just in your Roth IRA? This calculator I'm about to show you is only available for course members and private clients. So if you're interested in becoming a course member, you can visit firesightchat.com/pricing to view your options. You can, however, download a free version of my retirement calculator by visiting firesightchat.com/resources. But anyway, in 2025, you can contribute up to $7,000 to your Roth IRA. You can also contribute an additional $1,000 in catch-up contributions if you're over the age of 50. So allow me to demonstrate what's on this spreadsheet here, okay? Now, on the top left corner here, what you wanna look at is your current age. And I'm just gonna put down 25, and that's gonna be the age that you're gonna be turning. So in 2025, you're gonna be 25, and right now you're 24 years old, and you wanna put down 25, okay? It's the year, it's the age that you're going to be. And then you want to put down your annual gross income. And I prefer that you put your modified adjusted gross income and you put that in there. And for this example, I'm just going to put $70,000. And then the annual income increase, I'm going to put 2% for the inflation adjustment. If you think that you're going to get less than that, just put 1.5, 1.4, or 1%. It's completely up to you. And for IRA contribution limit, it is $7,000 for the 2025 Roth IRA limits, and then $1,000 for age 50 and over for the catch-up contribution limit. Okay, so this is kind of like showing you the summary of the Roth IRA. And if you look down at the bottom, you see how the age just kind of like it increases in increments. So if I change this to 30, okay, now it goes to 30, 31, 32. So you'll know what age you're going to be for that year. So I'm just going to go ahead and change it back to 25. And then for next year, if you want to change it to 2026, you can always do that too. For annual income and an annual income increase, right now the total savings rate is 0% because I haven't put anything yet. But once I put $7,000 on here, it's going to show you what your savings rate is going to be just for the IRA. And over here is going to show the total ending balance of your traditional IRA. And then you have the ending balance for your Roth IRA. Why these matter, and I'm going to show you why in a little bit. Okay. Now, let me go ahead and scroll to the right just a little bit. And they are a little bit color coded. So I'm going to go ahead and just minimize to the traditional IRA portion. So it comes with two portions. Okay. The first portion of the traditional IRA is the traditional IRA balance. That's the beginning balance here. And then the maximum contribution for pre-tax. Okay, so I'm just gonna, for this spreadsheet, I'm gonna put $7,000 because you're under the traditional IRA income limits for the deductible contributions. So I max out my $7,000 and I'm gonna put $1,000 for the age 50 plus for the catch-up contribution for the traditional IRA. Okay, I haven't talked about the Roth IRA just yet, so bear with me here. And over here is the expected portfolio return, and I put 8%, and I'm going to explain why later on in this video, but I do put 8%, and a lot of you might say, hey, I'm going to bring it down to 7%, you can bring it down to 7, and it's all going to change at the bottom here. But for this video, I'm going to leave it at 8%. Okay. Now it's automatically going to calculate what the annual interest is going to be and what the ending balance is going to be. And this 7,560 is going to be tied to the left here. You may have both traditional IRA and Roth IRA, but just keep in mind that you can only contribute $7,000 for either account. And it would be weird if you did it this way, like where you contribute half of it to the traditional IRA and the other half to the Roth IRA. It's usually one or the other. But if you do it that way, and I know I said do, that's how you can kind of keep track of how much of it is going into the traditional IRA and how much of it is going to the Roth IRA. Okay. Now, going into the compound interest calculation. So if you did $7,000 every year just for the traditional IRA, for the $1,000 catch-up contribution starting at the age of 25, if you scroll down here, it's going to automatically highlight for the age 60 or close to 59 and a half, just depending on your birthday, right? And it's going to highlight this at age 60 because that's when you're eligible to completely withdraw from your traditional IRA penalty free, not tax free, but penalty free, okay, for 59 and a half. And you would have about $1.77 million in your traditional IRA. But just keep in mind that $1.77 million in your traditional IRA, those are all subject to required minimum distributions. So keep that in mind because you will have to take that money out and you will have to pay taxes on it. So if you're doing this at a 4% withdrawal rate, how much is that going to be? So let's say 1772940 and multiplied by 4%, that's almost $71,000 a year in taxable income. So it is still pretty cool to have it, but it is going to be all taxable income, right? Now, let's go into the second part of it. And this part is the backdoor Roth IRA conversion. So let's say you are looking to contribute or convert $7,000 every year because you're over the Roth IRA income limit. So if I put 7,000 here, and if you forgot to clear out 7,000 here, it's going to show red because you can't double contribute, right? So I'm going to leave it to 0 here. And then you're just going to do the backdoor Roth IRA conversion. So when you do the backdoor Roth IRA conversion, and assuming that you have no traditional IRA balances, which means that you have no pre-tax dollars in your traditional IRA, then you don't get taxed at all. And if you look at the pro rata rate, it's going to say 0%, right? You owe no taxable conversion because you're only moving your after-tax dollars here to the Roth IRA in after-tax dollars. And on the right side, it's going to show up here for the backdoor Roth IRA conversion. But I'm going to talk about that Roth IRA in a little bit. But let's say you do have a traditional IRA balance, and let's just say you have $10,000 that you had at the beginning of the year, and then by the end of it, you have $10,800 by the end of the year. Okay, so let's say you do have that. Now you trying to convert that $7,000. You see how the pro rata rate is now 60%. So what that means is that 60% of $7,000 will be taxable income. So 60% of $7,000 is $4,247. So that is going to be taxable income added to your income because you have $10,800 in pre-tax dollars. So you got to keep that in mind. So if I reduce it to, let's say, $3,000 in your current traditional IRA, now only 31% of $7,000 will become taxable income. Remember, this is not the taxes owed because I don't know your marginal tax rate. Your marginal tax rate is going to be different than mine. So if your marginal tax rate is 24%, then you want to multiply $2,200 by 24%, and that's how much the taxes are owed. This is just taxable income that's going to be added to your total taxable income. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and clear this out. And the best way for you, and if you have a existing pre-tax dollars in your traditional IRA, let's say $3,000 in there, if you have a 401k, your current 401k, you can actually move this $3,200 to your traditional 401k anytime throughout the year, and then make the Roth IRA conversion. Let's say it's zeroed out. You have no traditional IRA balance in there in pre-tax dollars in there. Now it's become a 0% and you don't get taxed on that entire $7,000 that you convert. Okay. Now let's go into the Roth IRA. So I talked about the backdoor Roth IRA conversion, right? So let's say you have those dollars coming in, then what you do is you want to go ahead and invest in that, right? If you notice on the left-hand side here, there's no investment table because that's not the intent. You're not trying to invest that backdoor Roth IRA conversion while that money is in the traditional IRA. You want to invest that while that money is in the Roth IRA, so that money in the Roth IRA will grow tax-free, while growing the money in the traditional IRA will grow tax deferred. So you don't want to accrue interest. You don't want to forget about the traditional IRA, end up accruing interest, because the interest and earnings inside a traditional IRA, when you make that conversion, you're going to owe income taxes on it. Now, anyway, for the Roth IRA conversion, so this is the conversion here. And then for the rollovers, these are coming from the 401k, 403b, or any old retirement accounts that you're trying to consolidate that you want to put in here. And the reason why that contributions and earnings are divided is because the contributions in the, let's say, Roth 401k, that is not taxable again. And once that money is inside a Roth IRA, it's not going to be taxed again, right? So that's going to have to be separate. And once that money is in a Roth IRA, you can actually take it out at any time. So it's really beneficial if you move money from the Roth 401k over to the Roth IRA. Now, earnings, on the other hand, let's say you had $50,000 total in your Roth 401k, and half of that is in earnings. Then you need to put 25,000 here for contribution and put 25,000 here for the earnings. This money right here, you can invest in that, right? It makes sense, but you cannot take that money out. You can take this money out because you already paid taxes on it, but you cannot take any of this money out until you're 59 and a half. So that's why it's very important that you separate your contributions and earnings. Okay, that makes sense. So I'm just gonna go ahead and zero that out here. And you can still contribute to both into the investments. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you understanding how much of your rollover from your old 401k is in contributions and how much of that is in earnings. Now, let's go into the contributions. And this bracket here is if you're under the Roth IRA income limit. So let's say I'm going to put 7,000 here. Is it going to go red? Yes, it will, because I didn't clear out the backdoor Roth IRA conversion. You cannot directly contribute to the Roth IRA if you're over the income limit. So you're going to do the backdoor Roth conversion, right? But you can't do both. So I'm going to go ahead and zero that out, and I'm going to go ahead and zero that out as well. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add $1,000 to the age 50 plus catch-up contribution here. So I am at the age of, let's say, 35 in the year 2025, and $7,000 going in here. And then by the time I turn 50, that $1,000 gets added to the calculations. So how long do you think it'll take to have $1 million if you're, let's say you're going to be 35 in the year 2025? So it's going to take you all the way until age 64 to hit that $1 million if the average annual return is 8%. You can always bump it up to 10%, but that's not something that you can control, right? Because it's outside of control of how that market is going to do. But if it is 10% average annual return, that you can hit $1 million by the time you're 60 years old. Now, it is going to be much slower than the 401k or 403b because IRA contribution limits are $7,000 and the 401k contribution limit is $23,500. So you're going to achieve the millionaire status with the 401k much faster than the IRA alone. Okay, that makes sense so far, right? So when you go into the contribution here, remember, these are the dollars. Again, these are the dollars that you can take out at any time. What you cannot take out is right here where it says annual interest and earnings that you get, right? And on the right side here, there's going to be a summary of conclusions. So anytime you do the backdoor Roth IRA, and I'm going to go back to it just a little bit here. So when you do that backdoor Roth IRA conversion and going in here into the Roth IRA, you're not going to be able to touch that money for 5 years. So I'm going to go ahead and put, let's say, $7,000 here, okay? And I'm going to clear out the contributions here and catch up there. And I'm going to put $1,000 right there. So what happens is I have to wait 5 years from the time that I make that conversion in 2025, this $7,000 right here, I have to wait until the year 2030 to be eligible to take that money. And those dollars will be added up subsequently all the way until you turn 60 years old. And as you can see here, you can take out $180,000 out of the Roth IRA for the conversions. And then for, many years, it's just that, those dollars will pile up. Now, going into the contributions portion of it, it's the same concept. So let's say you're not doing the Roth IRA contribution or Roth IRA conversions. I'm going to change it back to contributions here. For the total Roth contributions, when you look at $7,000 here, compared to the Roth conversions, there's no 5-year rule for the contributions. You can take that money out at any time. So that $7,000 that you contributed in the year 2025, you can take it out immediately, right? And subsequently, going into 2026, you can take that money out for $14,000 and it just kind of adds up. So by the time you're 60 years old, you're going to have $235,000 that you contributed that you can take out at any time, but that $492,000 is where you're going to have to wait until you're 59 and a half. But it doesn't really matter at this point because you can take it out after you're 59 and a half. You can take both of them out. But let's say you're going to retire early at the age of 50 here, so that you can see that you have $130,000 that you contributed and you can take that money out at any time. But that $128,000 out of all that, you're going to have to wait until you're 59 and a half to touch that portion without being penalized. So that's really the most important thing. Now take a look at this, okay? So if you're someone watching this at the age of 20, and I have clients in their 20s right now, and if you do at 20 in the year 2025, by the time you're 60 years old, you're gonna have over $2.7 million in your Roth IRA. Man, that is just insane with a multiplier because the time is on your side, even when the contribution limits are a lot lower than the 401k. And look at this, you have $438,000 that you contributed, but you earned $2.2 million in earnings and interest. So if you're looking to retire early, let's say by the time you're 55, you're going to have access to that $364,000, but you're not going to be able to access that $2 million until you turn 59 and a half. So the earnings and interest do out earn your total contributions, but just keep those rules in mind that this is a 5-year rule for the Backdoor Roth IRA, and then you have the total Roth contributions, which you can withdraw at any time, and total Roth earnings is what you're going to have to wait until you're 59 and a half to do so. Now, take a look at the Roth IRA history. And if you notice that the average portfolio return, I've put down 8%. That's just me, right? So if you're someone who's more of a conservative investor, you can bring it down to 7% or 6%. It's completely up to you. But anyway, if you go into the Roth IRA history here, from the year 2000, for the last 25 years, the average return is 8.39%. 8.39% average annual return. Take a look at this. This is the dot-com bubble burst, right? Negative 10%, negative 13%, negative 22%. And then from there in 2003 to 2008, you know how it went down in 2008 for the global recession. But most of them have been incredible bull market years. Take a look at this. In 2009, you started at 28% gain. 2011 was a bad year, but not really a bad year. It's just a flat year, a negative 1%, and negative 1% in 2015, negative 6%, and then we had a bear market year of negative 18% for 2022 with high inflation too. But if you maxed out your Roth IRA starting in the year 2000, and then by the end of 2024, you have about $465,000 invested, assuming that you put all of your money into the S&P 500 index fund, which is not personalized financial advice. And I'm just kind of giving you an example here. So 465,000, and out of all that, the contributions were $120,000. And keep in mind that the maximum Roth IRA contribution limit back in 2000 was $2,000, and then $3,000 in 2002. It didn't get to $7,000 until the year 2024. So if you take a look at it here, it's much, much faster with the $120,000 for the contributions, and you have $345,000 in earnings and interest. So if you keep trucking on, and let's say you keep working, and by the time that by 34th year, you would have over $1 million, right? But keep in mind that you could reach $1 million much faster because the contribution limit is much higher in the year 2024 and 2025. And right now, it's not being raised at all. The contribution limit is going to remain at $7,000. But if this goes to $7,500 and it goes to $8,000 in the future years, you're going to earn that $1 million much, much faster. So here's the biggest thing, right? I would never miss out on my Roth IRA contribution ever again, because I did miss here to about right there. That's how much I have missed. And I didn't start contributing to my Roth IRA until right here, from 2015 until right now. And I have a lot more than the stock market return right now. And that's not I'm not trying to brag, but that's just how it goes. your earnings will outgrow your total contribution. So please keep that in mind. And depending on when you're watching this video, you're still going to have time to contribute to the 2024 Roth IRA until April 15, 2025. After that date, you're not going to be able to backdate your Roth IRA contribution for 2024, and you're going to have to start contributing to the 2025 Roth IRA. And every year that goes by without contributing to your Roth IRA is another year you don't get to enjoy the tax-free growth from that year's contribution. Just look at how the NASDAQ and S&P 500 index funds performed in 2024. And imagine your $7,000 in 2024 grew to $9,100 because of these outstanding market returns with over 30%. Now, I'm not saying that it's going to be a 30% return every year, but you don't want to miss out on these incredible returns because historically, we have more bull market years than bear market years. I gave you a very conservative return percentage in this scenario. So imagine when your return starts to double or triple the returns that you originally planned for. Your money in the Roth IRA will continue to compound its growth, and you'll end up retiring with 7 figures in your Roth IRA completely tax-free if you consistently invest. And this has been another beast of a video, and I hope you got a lot out of it.